Welcome to Journey to Wholeness, hosted by author and life coach Indiana Tuggle, where we help Christian women heal, achieve mental wellness, and spiritual growth so you can accomplish your goals and purpose.
Well, hello, everyone. Happy Good Friday to those of you who are watching and listening in. My name is Indiana Tuggle if you are joining me for the very first time. And this is Journey to Wholeness, which is a podcast where I like to bring on phenomenal women who are healing and growing and glowing, as I like to say. And we like to talk about our strategies, our revelations, so that we can help you, our listeners, to heal, grow, and glow in your own life. Tonight, we are welcoming back Mikkita. And for those who may have missed our first conversation, I'm going to let her briefly introduce herself and the work that she does.
So I'm Mikkita Moore, and I am an author. I'm a real estate agent, realtor. I'm here in Illinois. I am a 17-time book writer or book author. I am the CEO and founder of the Art of Transparency, which is a touring company. I'm the co-founder of Mikkita Moore Foundation, which is having their daddy-daughter dance tomorrow. Yay, it's finally here. I think that's about it. I'm a serial entrepreneur with a 9-to-5.
So today we're really diving into a deeply personal topic, and that is healing broken families. So what does that phrase mean to you personally?
First of all, broken families are because of broken people. You know what I'm saying? Like, the family became broken because somebody in that dynamic is broken. So, hurt people hurt people. So for me, if nobody is healed, then the family will continue to go down the line with the generational brokenness. So I think it comes from somebody at the top is broken, and they, slowly tend to break the others below them. If that makes sense. I hope it did.
Absolutely. I can definitely agree with you there. When I hear the term broken families, the first thing that comes to my mind is silence. Because once I began to embark on my healing journey, I really found out that there were a lot of family members who had been through the same thing. And I'm like, and you didn't tell nobody? I'm like,
well, we come from a generation that was what happens in this house stays in this house.
Right.
And the generation before us, they were definitely on it. Like, what happens here stays here. You don't tell nobody our business. You don't tell nobody, don't tell nobody, don't tell nobody. So I think that's where that comes from. And they weren't taught to heal, especially, in our community. We were taught to push it under the rug. We were taught, get over it. We were not taught therapy or none of that. So I think that's a big part of it as well.
Absolutely. We were taught to endure,
Yeah.
to hang on and to be resilient, so to speak, and to just be silent and a closed mouth and be seen and not heard. We were taught all of that. So let's jump into it. Can you share with us about your childhood and how your father's absence impacted your emotional and spiritual development?
Emotionally, it impacted me because I never got the daddy love until I was older. So let's make that very clear, because I am a daddy's girl. He's gone now. But as a young girl, he wasn't around. So I never heard, "Come here, baby girl," or, "That's my baby girl." I never heard words of encouragement from my father. So that made me seek out getting the encouragement from as long as it was a male figure, right? I also had an older brother that we didn't get along at all. He's 9 years older than me, so that dynamic was messed up too. So having the men in my life that were in my life not showing love and all of that, it was completely messed up, because now I'm looking for love anywhere that I can find it from the male counterparts. Spiritually, it took me into my teenage years for the spiritual part, because that's when I was like, well, God, if you my spiritual father, why couldn't you make sure my real father was around? Why couldn't you make sure that I felt the love of a man? Um, why is this? So it kind of made me question what he wanted for me in that aspect.
Mm-hmm. I remember growing up and not really thinking about it because my father was in and out. At least the man that I knew as my father was in and
Mm-hmm.
out. It was more of a, because of the lifestyle that he was living,
Mm-hmm.
doing drugs, selling drugs, running from the law, and all of that. So we were kind of, me and my brother and my mom, we were kind of tagging along with
Okay.
him across the country. So going to and fro. So we're really not really having a stable
Mm-hmm.
environment. I mean, we had as much stability as we could, but I remember being on the road a lot. I remember going from place to place
Mm-hmm.
until we finally got somewhere stable. And then when we got somewhere stable, we were uprooted because he got in trouble with the law again, and he ran back to Memphis. And then my mom was like, she stayed on her own for a couple of months afterwards. It may have been a year or so after he left, because we were living in Killeen, Texas, and then
Okay.
he moved back to Memphis. And I remember us uprooting and leaving everything that we had in Killeen and coming back to Memphis for her and him to get back together, and they didn't get back together. So they were still kind of on and off. So I kind of felt like there was no stability for a lot of it. And then once we finally did get stability, it's like my relationship with him kind of dwindled. Like it
Okay.
was more of a, I got your baby girl, but I never got the confirmation talks, the confidence talks,
Okay. No,
the
I didn't
the
get those.
birds and the bees talks, the how to identify a good man. I never got any of that for most of my life, up until probably when my brother went to jail. My brother was my positive male role model. He was the one who protected me, who looked out for me,
I wish.
and all of that. So,
Not mine.
you say you wish, right?
Mm-mm. My brother ain't never protected me from nothing. I mean,
Wow.
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, not mine.
Yeah, and that's part of, I think, the brokenness too, is that the people who are around you that you think are supposed to love you and protect you, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when they don't, it makes them be complicit.
Mm-hmm.
In our mind, you're complicit. Either you helping me, or either you helping me get out, or you helping me stay in. There really is no middle ground where I'm just gonna mind my business. No such thing as
Yeah.
minding your business when it comes to somebody hurting someone
Mm-hmm.
that you're supposed to be loving, right? And reading your bio, I don't know if you dealt with molestation, but I did. So how do you think the experience of abandonment or molestation shaped your view of family, trust, and love?
I did not experience molestation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but abandonment, I
Mm-hmm.
still deal with that today at 47. Like, that's one of my bigger issues. And that's one of the biggest hurdles of healing right now is the abandonment. Um, I find myself even now, I'll walk away from you before you walk away from me, because if you walk away from me now, I'm feeling like, oh my God, here we go again type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So abandonment is still very high on my list. But it started with my father. Then my father, he walked out. Then my brother walked out, and then uncles walked out. And it's like, okay. And then of course, once you got up in age, the men walked out. Okay, now, okay. So every man in my life, y'all just gonna walk out?
Right.
That's not fair. Um, so the abandonment issue definitely is still something I'm healing from.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with you there. I still deal with the abandonment and the rejection a lot. And when it comes to my trust, I
Ooh.
really trust is one of those things that I it's not freely given
Not
at
at
all.
all.
At all, so don't even come at me like, do you trust me? No, I do not.
No, I do not.
So it's more of a I trust you as far as I can see you. And I'm nearsighted, so that's not too far. So I come from it from that way, and then it's more of it takes me a long time to trust people. So when I'm trying to get into relationships and build relationships with people, it can come off as I'm not interested. It could come off as I'm being guarded, which I am. I'm being guarded. It could come off as being emotionally unavailable, which I'm really not, but I'm actually trying to develop some type of trust with you, trying to see who you are. Are you for me or are you against me? That's what I'm trying to discern in my mind. And then
I'm not that bad. I'm
huh?
not that bad.
I am.
I'm not that bad. Like, for me, I give you what you give me. I give you what you give me. I mean, if you somebody that shows trusting and you showing that you here, I'm gonna give you that back. I mean, my eyes are open, but I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't come off emotionally unavailable. Now, if we're talking about a new person and they just want to talk on the phone and they send that "what you doing" text, we gonna stop talking. We going on the block list.
And that's what I mean. It's like when I'm trying to let somebody new in, I'm very, very reserved, and very, very standoffish because I'm trying to figure out, like Harpo, who these folks?
What we doing?
What
Right.
we
What are we
doing?
doing?
Who these people? Who are you? And what you come for? Who sent you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Like, who are you? Even though you have given me because you've given me some good vibes and we have some things in common, I'm going to open up and I'm going to talk. But I am still in the back of my mind thinking, who you? Who sent you? So that's one of my. That's why I try to slow down when I'm meeting
I don't think I'm that bad, even with new people. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at you side eye, but
yes,
I'm trying to get to know people. I really do. I
yeah,
really do.
yeah.
But then, like I said, them whole "what you doing" text hit one more time, and I just be like, yeah, I'm done with that. Make a plan. Like, let's meet for coffee. Let's do something other than this phone, please.
Yeah, yeah.
So that I can see who you are for real.
Right. I think you have to show some type of interest. If I feel like I'm the only one making the effort to show interest, to show that I want to build something and nurture something, then I'm going to pull back.
No, I'm just gonna put you on the block list. We ain't gotta
Yeah,
talk ever again.
yeah. Now, when it comes to the definition of love, I felt like love always hurt me. So I felt like I didn't know what love truly was until I started to cultivate my relationship with God. Because my idea of love was always out of sight, out of mind. Eventually you gonna leave, so I'm just waiting on you to leave, or something like that. Or love was a performance. If I performed well, then you thought I was doing good, or if I was being a good girl, so to speak, then you love me. If I wasn't being a good girl, if I wasn't doing what you wanted me to do, then you was cussing me out. This is my mom, but she was cussing me out. If I ain't do what she wanted her to do, but she wanted me to do, then I was getting cussed out. So I had this kind of toggle thing where I didn't know if are you gonna love me today or are you gonna be mad at me today? So I was always on guard, feeling like I had to be this good girl to receive love. That I couldn't show what I was really going on. I couldn't show my feelings. I couldn't show any anger. I couldn't show any resistance or any of that, or you weren't gonna love me, and eventually that was gonna make you leave me.
No, I don't have that one. I don't have that one. I have felt not enough, right?
Yeah.
I definitely felt the not enough, right? I'm not enough for you to love me properly. but that comes from the abandonment. But it doesn't, I never felt like I had to do something for you to love me, or I had to act a certain way for you to love me.
Yes.
I didn't feel that, but I definitely felt sometimes that I wasn't good enough to be loved properly. And that stuck with me throughout my adulthood as well. So I'm working on that still. I'm working on that part too.
So, were there any signs early on that something in your family dynamic needed healing, even if you didn't have the language for it?
Absolutely. Yeah. My mother never gave hugs. My mother's love language was, let me take you shopping. If I got good grades, if I, you know how you come in the house and you screaming and hollering and it's already done. So her apology to me was, oh, let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. So that has been her love language this whole time, when all I wanted was a hug, right? Throwing money. Like, okay, let's go do this. Let's go, let's go to the car lot. Let's go, So her love language is money. One day, this happened maybe 4 years ago, not sure when, exactly when, but one day she came up to my job to bring me my daughter. My daughter had spent the weekend with her, and I worked at a school, so she came up to the school to bring me my daughter, and she gave me a hug. Now, we were going out of town the next day, so when she gave me the hug, I was like, hold on, are you dying? What's happening? You're hugging me. What's happening here? And she was like, girl, you so silly. No, I'm dead serious. Why are you hugging me? Are you dying? Because this ain't you. She was like, well, you always want love, so I'm going to give you some love. I'm good. You can keep it. You can keep it. Because what are we doing here? Because if you telling me this plane finna jump out the air, honey, girl, bye. Because it really shocks me. But since then, she became a little bit more loving and would say, I love you, or I love you too, type thing. But it's never been affection, ever, my entire life. Nope, that's not my mother. Now, my father, once we started our relationship in 2016, he was very loving. I love you, call me back, like he was very, the calling every other day, the I love you, the hugs. Like I couldn't go in my daddy's house without a hug, and I ain't leaving his house without no hug. So he was very loving. But that mama, oh no, baby. She ain't doing none of that.
Now, my mom, she wasn't really, she was lovey in the sense of she wanted a hug, she was gonna give you a kiss or something like that. But she wasn't always gonna say the right thing. That was our thing. And for me, what did I get an early sign? I think my earliest sign that something wasn't right was when I was younger. I think I might be 8 or 9 years old. In my mind, everything happened at 8, but that's as far early as I can remember.
Everything happened to me at 6. Like, what happened?
Right. So, and at that time, I had went to school, and I had told one of my my classmates or one of my friends that my father sold marijuana.
Oh Lord!
And
you went to school and told
I told it, honey. I didn't mean to. It just kind of came out in conversation. We was out playing. We was behind the school building trying to smoke a cigarette, playing or what, doing something we weren't supposed to be doing. And she told my brother. And so my brother went home and told my mom and my daddy. And that was the first time my dad whooped me. And in my mind, I'm like, why are you whooping me when you're the one doing wrong?
What is happening here?
Like, what's happening here? I'm a child, and children gonna tell it. Yes. If they don't do nothing else, they going to tell it. You can't do nothing.
They're all of your business.
Right. You can't do nothing in front of a child that you don't want told, because they are going to tell it, because that's natural. And so for me, that incident kind of made me start to look at things a little bit differently. Like it kind of made me silent. Now I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't telling nothing, because I ain't getting there another one of them whoopings, So it was one of those, that was the incident that I remember that kind of started to silence me and let me know that I can't tell you anything. So when I did get molested, a couple of months later or something like that, I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell. Only somebody who noticed a difference with me was my teacher. And then I was mad at that because I'm your child and you didn't notice that something was going on with your baby girl. So my teacher did. And she noticed that now I'm not this bubbly person anymore. I'm not trying to help with the students. I'm not laughing and joking and playing every day, and all of that. And she noticed it and she gave me a journal. She was like, I don't know what's going on with you, but maybe you can write in this journal and you can say, Dear Diary, or something to get your feelings out. And I remember going home and I was in church. So I started writing that diary, but I started writing Dear God, letters to God to get some of my feelings and my emotions out. But I remember that being the pinnacle, the turning point in me.
Wow. Nope, that wasn't me. I knew from very early that my mother was absolutely just not. She was. I can't tell you a time that my mother's lips touched anything on my face. Like I can't tell you one time that my mother was like, "Love you." No, I can't tell you not one time. Not one time. Not in my entire life. Nope.
I remember my mom. My mom was, and I really don't like to categorize people by their sign, but my mom was a Gemini. And so my mom was either she was super sweet. I love you. Come here, baby girl, my little chocolate baby, and this, and that, the other. And you so smart, and you so kind, and you so sweet, and I love you. Or she was the devil. You just fat, and this, and that, the other, and you don't never want to do this, and I can't stand you, and this and that. And it was like I was dealing with Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, so it was that type of thing that was going on, right?
That's too much. No, my mother, I can honestly say my mother was the same all across the board. Like there was no flip-floppy of it was the same. My mother was, if you do good, she's taking you shopping. If you do bad, she's gonna be on punishment, and that punishment not gonna last too long because she gotta sit in the house and she ain't gonna sit in the house, so you're gonna be on punishment 2 or 3 days, and then y'all outside again eating pizza and doing all the things that y'all normally do. Yeah, I never had. I didn't go through that. But
I never got punishment because being in the house wasn't punishment for me because I was always a loner. I could stay in the house in my room all day and you wouldn't hear nothing from me.
I'm not staying in no house. I want to go to the mom.
Yeah, so that wasn't punishment for me. So she never could say, you can't go outside, you on punishment, because I'd be looking at her like, and
no, so punishment for me, I didn't go outside. I hated outside. I still hate outside. Punishment for me was she wouldn't take me shopping. I want to go to the mall. I want to go eat. And if we can't do that, now I got a problem.
Right.
Where's my stuff?
For us, we didn't have money, so we grew up on poverty and welfare and all the food stamps and all of that. But what we did have was food. So that's how my mom showed love. You can have whatever you want at the grocery store. You can cook whatever you want. I'm going to make your favorite meal or something like this. And we're going to have a party in the house with the family, or something like that. That was our thing, but as far as being able to get what you want, we didn't get things. I don't remember getting gifts or anything. That's why I didn't start celebrating my birthday until I got grown.
Oh no.
Because it just wasn't something that happened, growing up. There were no I don't remember birthday parties. I don't remember a whole lot of gifts. I don't remember any of that because it was just, we just didn't have it. And I don't remember feeling deprived or anything because of it.
Because you don't miss what you don't have.
You don't miss what you don't have. And I knew we didn't have it, so she tried. When she did get some money, she would try to make up your birthday. I know your birthday was last week, so now I got my check and we're gonna go and get you something, or something like that. So she tried. So I never really, it wasn't a big deal to me. It was just my birthday or a holiday. It was just another day to me because we only thing special we could do was cook a big meal, have a family gathering, or something like that. But
Wow.
So now that we talk about the journey of healing, when did you realize that your healing couldn't wait for an apology or a change from somebody else, that it had to start with you?
When everything was affecting me and it
Mm,
wasn't affecting them.
mm-hmm,
If it affects me and everybody else is still cool,
mm-hmm,
this got to start with me,
mm-hmm.
because I can't continue to do this and everybody else living their life just fine. No, we not. No. So let me fix me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and losing friends, losing relationships, you start looking in the mirror like, okay, the common denominator here is me.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let me fix me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and that's when my healing journey kind of started. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. I had to get to the point to where, Indiana, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to
Yep.
make change. You're going to have to begin to look inside instead of looking outside to other
Mm-hmm.
people. And then another thing I realized is that they weren't going to apologize. We grew up with the old school parents, and
I don't even think they felt
yeah,
like they should. You know what
right,
I'm saying? Like, apologize
right.
for what? I raised you to the best of my ability. And
Mm-hmm.
being a parent that had children at 14 years old, I
Mm-hmm.
get that now. I
Yeah.
get it because I raised you to the best of my ability. Was some of that wrong or not done correctly? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna keep apologizing for the same thing. I difference is I have apologized, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna keep doing that. Like
Right.
we didn't already sat at this round table. You didn't say what your gripe. I didn't told you how I feel about it, and I've apologized to you for making you feel that way. But we through talking about it. We're not
Right.
gonna keep going. Oh no, we're not doing that. We're
Mm-hmm.
not doing that. And if I feel like you want to continue to punish me for something, one, I had no control over. I'm
Mm-hmm.
14 raising a baby. Come on now. What could you possibly know at 14? I'm super wet behind me. Come on now. However, I do realize that mistakes were made.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize for making those mistakes. I do. Because, maybe I should have known better or whatever the case may be, but we're not gonna keep beating this dead horse. Nope.
Exactly. And I felt like that too. At the time that I started my healing journey, I was like 30s, in my early 30s, and my mom was like 48, 50. Nobody got time to be rehashing um
Mm-mm.
some
Mm-mm.
stuff. And then she was sick, and it really wasn't the time to be trying to pour salt in the wound. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got to the point of cultivating my relationship with God, and our next question was, how did God play a role in helping you confront and process your painful family wounds? It was God who really showed me her perspective, because my mom grew up with a lot of hurt, a lot of brokenness. She went through rape, being beaten, molested. She went through a whole lot at the hands of men. And in raising me, her goal was that I didn't experience what she experienced. So she was trying to protect me, and the only way that she knew how to do that was to be harsh. Was to be strict. No, you can't go there. You can't be with them. You can't do this. You're gonna go in the house and read your book. That's what you're gonna do. And that's how she really tried to raise me, was to try to shield me from a lot of stuff. And then my brother, he took that on too. He wanted to shield me too. So I was a sheltered project chick, because my
Oh, don't do that.
right, because my mom and my brother was like, no, you can't hang with them, you can't do that with them, you ain't go in the house. I said go in the house, or something like that. So it was more of that was going on. And once I realized that she had the right motive, just the
Okay.
wrong method, I was able to process it more and be there for her more in her time of need, and allow God to work through me for her, because God had already spoken to me that I'm going to heal her, I'm going to save her, then I'm going to take her. So
Mm.
I need you to show her me. And so
Mm.
that was my mandate. And so I was like, okay, God, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to tell me what to do with this hurt, because I don't know how to let it go. I don't know how to stop seeing this woman or this mother who is verbally abusing me. I don't know how to process that because I'm grown now. In my grown mind, I don't have to listen to this no more. I can move out. I ain't got to fool with you, but now because you are sick and you are hurting, I have to take care of you. Right. And I'm not showing the love of God if I'm trying to take care of you, but we arguing every day. We fight every day over little bitty stuff because we both trying to be alpha woman in the household, right? So I had to allow God to come in and soften my heart so that I could show her the love that he needed me to show her before because regardless of what went on, I don't wish hell on my worst enemy.
Right.
So I wanted it with all the pain that she had been through. I wanted her to leave here and be with Jesus. Because it ain't gonna be no more pain when we leave here. So whatever I got to do to help, I want to do that. So God, you're gonna have to show me. So that's how God ended up helping me to confront that.
So for me, I grew up in church. I Monday through Sunday. Lord. So I've been in church all my life. I mean, I don't go as much as I should now, but I've been in church all my life. So I knew that there was a calling on my life from a very, very, very young age. So he's always been with me. So I always knew to lean on him. But as far as the healing is concerned, I would hear him. Like I tell people, the devil sit on one side and God sit on the other, and they having a whole conversation while I'm in the middle, like, okay, when y'all get through, let me know, right? Because in my mind, I know I should do this, but I want to do that. So taking me out of it allowed me to forgive even my dad, right? When he called me that day, I was so mad at him. I was so mad at him. Like, how could you just not be here for me? But it took him to say, you know what? I didn't know that you needed me like that. And I'm just like, you my daddy. And he was like, well, I knew your mother would take care of you. But you my daddy. Like, so that's where my healing with him came in. Like, because I thought about my own parenting. No, I didn't know how to be that type of mother. I didn't know you needed that type of mother. So looking at my own parenting and him saying exactly that, I have no choice but to forgive you. And I'm glad that I did. We had the best relationship after that. As far as my mother is concerned, to be totally honest, me and my mother never had the conversation. We've never had the hard conversation. We fall out, push it up, put stuff under the rug, and then she just come back, or I go back and act like nothing happened. How? Right? Because we didn't fix anything. Because this is gonna happen again because we never talked about it. You don't know where I messed up or where I felt or how I felt. I don't know where you messed up and how you felt because you're not saying it. We just kind of stopped talking, and then one day one of us will call the other one and like, hey girl. No, we ain't talked in 4 months. Like, so again, me and my mother have never had the hard conversation. Even my brother. We haven't spoke since my father's funeral, and I don't plan on speaking to him. I forgive him, but I don't have nothing to say to you. When I needed you the most, you weren't there. You weren't there. Right. I don't have nothing else to say. Do I hate you? Absolutely not. But you are one of the people that triggers me. So I gotta let you be where you are. I gotta let you be who you want to be, where you want to be, how you want to be. I can no longer have you in my circle because you've hurt me way too many times. So, and I talk to God all the time about it. That's why I can tell you I forgive him. I just can't. We can't mesh at all. And as far as my mom, again, I don't know where that's gonna go. I forgive her though, because I think about my dad. Maybe she didn't know how to be the mom that I need. So how do I hold that against her when she didn't know? But I know we can't keep falling out and then speaking again like nothing ever happened. That we can't keep doing that.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. My mother and I, we never had the conversation. We never had a conversation.
Mhm.
Before she did, I don't know if she read it, but she did have my first book. In my first book, I really talked about a lot of things that I went through and how I was feeling. But I don't know if she read it because she never said anything about it before she passed away. Now, when it comes to now my biological father, the guy that I met in my 30s.
Yeah, we talked about that. I remember
Yeah,
that
as my
conversation.
biological father, now he and we don't have a relationship. And I wanted to. I tried because in my reaching out to him, I was so hopeful. Like maybe this will explain why I've always felt different. Maybe this will be the father-daughter relationship that I never had. Maybe this, so I was very hopeful. But then when I met him, it wasn't that. It was whole slick Rick thing that was going on. But whomever you thought you were back in the day, this pimp, this whomever, all of that came out. And then
So let me ask you this question. When you met your biological father, did you have that conversation with him though? Like that, because at this point you are of age, you are an adult. So did you have that conversation like that? This is the way that I need to be loved now. Because I had that conversation with my daddy, and it was one.
Yeah, we had the conversation. Um, and I talked to him and I was like, I'm really not interested in why you were gone or why you didn't come look for me or what went on with you and my mom. What was the dynamic of y'all? I'm really not interested in that. I'm interested in getting to know you, who you are now, and you getting to know me. Right. And then that went into him making promises that he couldn't keep, which triggered some stuff because you were absent when I was younger. I did meet him once at 13 for my 13th birthday, and he promised we're gonna do this and that for your birthday. See, this is another reason why I didn't do birthdays. So he kept making all of these empty promises. And then here I am at 30 plus, you're still making empty promises. And I'm like, sir, I didn't ask you for all of that. I don't want you, don't make promises that you can't keep. Let's just say we're going to get together. Let's have dinner once a month or something like that. And he was like, he couldn't do it. And then when I did, I went to his house a couple of times to visit him, and he wanted to he kept coming at me like trying to give me advice like I was a 13-year-old, and I kept saying, hello, I'm 32. I don't need
Okay.
that ain't what I need, and then our last conversation was after my mom passed. And once my mom passed, when he called me, instead of him calling me to say my condolences and if you need anything, he called me pointing the finger at my mom, telling me I told her to get off drugs. I told her to do this. And I said, hold on, player. You didn't tell her nothing. I said, because when my mama left here, my mama wasn't doing drugs. First of all, I said, and second of all, you don't get to judge her because she stayed. You didn't.
Right.
I said, second of all, I said, so this is not what we gonna do. And that was the last time I heard from him. And that was in 2015. My mom passed in 2015. So I haven't talked to him in almost in 9 years. I don't know if the man's still living or anything. I've tried to call his phone a couple of times, and then I finally said, you know what? I'm not going to continue to reach out and form a relationship with somebody that does not want one with me. So I'm good.
Right.
And that was, how have you parented or nurtured relationships differently as a result of your healing journey?
I'm loving. I mean, like my baby, my baby girl hugs, and she gotta hug me every day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. And if I be like, not right now, she be like, yes, right now, mom, right now. I need it now. Um, and I listen, right? I listen to her. I don't assume. I listen to, like, one time she was being bullied, and I was like, hey, just, ignore them. And she came to me one day and she was like, Mommy, I don't like when you say just ignore them, because if I could just ignore them, that's what I would have been doing. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So how do you think that we should deal with it? Right? Because we can't physically stop them, but what can we do for you? Right? And so we have those conversations. So I'm loving, I talk to her a lot. Um, everything that my mother and my father did to me, I do the opposite. I don't I want her to feel loved. I want her to be loved. I keep um male figures in her life so that she knows that she is loved, right? Um, I don't allow people to talk to her any kind of way. That's not gonna happen on my watch. Watch how you talk to her. Period. Um, so for me, I just kind of did the opposite of what my parents did, and I do what I needed. I'm the mother that I needed at that time. Being 13, I was pregnant at 13. I don't want my daughter to do that because she's looking for love. I don't want that. So I'm just parent the way that I wanted to be parented.
I don't have kids, so I still feel like I'm still a little isolated. I still keep to myself, so to speak. However, I do try to communicate more. If something is hurting me or something is making me feel some type of way, I try to communicate that more in my friendships. I do try to communicate my boundaries a little bit more differently instead of just getting mad saying leave me alone. I will communicate my boundaries, let people know what's going on with me. I don't chase relationships at all, friendships or romantically. I don't chase. Either you want to be around me or you don't.
Right.
And I'm not gonna beg. So it's more, my healing journey has taught me to embrace the parts of me that are different because of what happened. There are some things that cannot be changed. There are some things that you cannot, because you cannot rewrite history, you don't have a do-over, that you will not be able to remove from your life. And there are some things about me that I feel like is just so deeply embedded in me that I can't change it immediately, not in my own. It may happen later, like if I get married or something like that part of me might change. But for now, I am embracing the Indiana that I am, the loving person that I am. I am embracing the fact that I know I am enough now. I am, and I don't have to perform for anybody. I am embracing that. I am embracing the love of God and the wisdom that is in me, that God has put in me to share with other people. And then I also acknowledge that there is still more healing to be done. Absolutely. That may not come out without the help of somebody else. Right? Because
healing
there
is
are
a lifetime journey. Yeah. It's not
yes.
Because even when you heal from X, you still got Y, you still got Z, you still got 1, you still got 2, right? So healing is forever. You just deal with things differently, which makes it better. But healing is, it took you all this time to heal from 5 years old, right? So
that part.
you still got hurts happening in this time. So it's gonna take some time to heal from today's hurt, so healing is a lifetime journey.
It really truly is. And there's only so much you can do in isolation, and then there's still another level that you have to do when it comes to relationships and becoming one with somebody and letting somebody else in. There's still going to be some things that are going to be revealed that I know I'm going to have to heal from. But I also know that because I have the tools to heal and what to do, and I have God, I know that I'll be able to face whatever is coming my way.
Yep.
Now I no longer fear allowing somebody in. I might let you in slowly, but I don't fear letting somebody in anymore, because I used to be like, I'm not going to deal with no type of hurt, no kind of way. If he ain't the one, Jesus, I don't want him. If they not good for me, I don't want them. But now I'm more of, okay, Indiana, you have God, you have the Holy Spirit, you have discernment. You don't have to tell your life story to everybody you meet. You can take your time to get to know them and see who they are, and also allow them to see who you are. You can take your time. You don't have to rush. I don't care if you are feeling like you 50 and your time is up. You don't have to rush into anything. So I am embracing the journey, however long it may take. Is it uncomfortable sometimes? Absolutely, positively it is. Because God knows what I want. He knows the desires of my heart. But at the same time, I am at a place now where I know I'm worth the wait. If you don't see it, that ain't got nothing to do with me. But I know. I know I am worth the wait, right? Now, I know you said you have to get out of here. So what advice would you give to someone who is feeling stuck in bitterness or afraid to uncover long buried family pain?
The feeling of stuck is the part of not wanting to relive or rehash something. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, in order to heal from it, you have to reveal it. You can't keep saying, oh, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that, because it's going to pour out in other parts of your life. That's just period. So being stuck, and a lot of people are. I was stuck for years. A lot of people are stuck. So you got to reveal it. Once you reveal it, then take it step by step to heal it. You don't have to heal. You can't heal 10 years of hurt in one day. You can't heal 10 years of hurt in a couple sessions of therapy. It just doesn't work like that. So trust the process. Trust that God is going to bring you out if that's who your belief is. And work it. You in your mind, just keep working on you. Trying to heal. Also, you got to discover who you are. So do a lot of mirror work. Who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want this to not affect me anymore? So it's steps, right? It's just steps. And the first step is to reveal it. You can't do nothing if you still hide it from you and everybody else. Because the same thing you hiding from everybody else, you really hiding from you. Because that's called putting a mask on. So everybody else sees this perfect person, but then you get home, take the mask off, and you realize that you're not who you've been all this time. So reveal it.
My first thing I would say is check your motives. Because sometimes when we're afraid to uncover, some long buried family pain or something like that, we feel like we have to uncover it openly. We feel like we have to point the finger and really confront the people or expose what's being done. And sometimes that may be necessary, but sometimes it's not either. Sometimes you can talk about it in therapy or with a trusted person or something like that. Because I always tell my clients that if you want to confront your abuser or your family pain, you have to be ready for the rebuttal. You have to
be. Though, I don't think the healing, a self-healing journey, don't have nothing to do with nobody else.
Right.
I'm not confronting anybody in my healing. Now, if I want to get things off my chest, yes. But to heal, that's a self thing. Right. That's a self thing. And I want people to really know that the confrontation of the thing, that don't bring about healing. That might open up a whole nother door of something else, especially when their rebuttal doesn't match what your expectations were. So if you go to somebody and say, well, you did this, that, and the other, and it made me feel this way, and they say something along the lines of, oh, well, or I didn't, sorry that you felt that way, that that's ingenuine, and that's going to make you feel even worse. So I would say you have to start the healing journey first, so that when you do confront somebody, if that's what you feel like you absolutely have to do, you're ready for the rebuttal. Because if you don't do no healing and you go get this, it's going to put you in an even worse spot.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean. You don't have to, you can't focus on somebody else
Mhm.
revealing or validating your story.
Mhm.
You have to know that it's real to you. It
Yep.
happened to you, and
Yep.
therefore you can take your power back and you can heal on your own. You don't have to have a physical apology to heal, right? You can start your
Absolutely.
healing journey up right now. And then also, you don't have to feel guilty or ashamed if you have to pull away from some people, right? Because you can't heal in the same place that hurt you.
Hurt
So
you. Yeah.
sometimes you have to walk away, and that even includes family. If you ain't physically living with them, you got to move. Cousin, auntie, mama, I don't care who it is. You don't have to be in connection and proximity and being around them if you don't want
Not
to
at all. I
at
don't have.
all. You do not have
I'm
to.
not
If
going.
they want to keep inviting uncle that molested you to the family gathering, guess what? You ain't got to show up.
I ain't going.
And you don't owe nobody no explanation for why you didn't show up. You just, one thing that I want people to know is family does not mean that you are mandated to maintain a connection.
Yep.
It is just like any other relationship that you have. If you cannot treat me correctly, if you cannot love me properly, I do not have to stay here. I don't have to be loyal to pain.
Yeah, exactly.
You really don't. And you can walk away. And furthermore, you probably already have walked away. You ain't showing up. You're the family member that I tell people all the time, I'm the CME family member. I show up on Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. And give me a plate.
I don't show
And
up
I'm
then.
gone. And I don't even have no beef with nobody in my family. So but that's
I'm just not
who I
showing
am.
up. Everybody know Mikkita ain't coming.
Right. That's just, you don't have to force yourself to be a part of a family that abuses you, that misuses you, that misuses your children, that speaks
Oh, that's a
ill
whole
against
nother. That's
your relationship or something. Like, you do not have to stay there. You can walk away. A lot of people say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes
no, it's not.
sometimes the family that you create is better than the family that you were born in.
Mm-hmm. If you put them together, water and blood the same. They all run. They all run.
They all run. Blood just
They all run.
it's supposed to be thicker, but sometimes it's not. And you have to be okay with that. When the time comes, if you have to go back or something like that, you will have the tools necessary for you to handle that situation. But if you cannot handle it, if all it does is triggering you, bringing you heartache, bringing you pain, you go to Christmas gathering, and all of a sudden you going into the new year because you discussed it and you still talking about what somebody did.
Nah, I ain't doing it.
Don't go. Don't go. Cook your own meal. Learn how to cook. Cook your own meal at the house. That's what I do. I tell people all the time, I ain't got to go to you ain't got to invite me. I can cook. I might not want to, but I can cook. So I'm good. I ain't missing no meal. Trust me. So it's like, you do not have to force yourself to stay connected to anybody that is hurting you. So last thoughts. What does wholeness look like for you now?
Happiness. Period and dot. Happiness. Happiness in friendships, happiness in relationships, happiness. I don't need the togetherness. I want happiness. I want happiness because everything else will fall in place. When you are not happy and when you are not whole, you bleed on people intentionally, but it happens. So happy. That's what it looks like to me.
Absolutely. And in addition to happiness, I would add wholeness is purpose, looks like purpose to me, because I don't have time to be lonely. I don't have time to be depressed. I don't have time to be sad, because purpose keep me busy, baby. God got a whole list of stuff over here for your girl to do.
And running a little bit from my purpose. So I'm still, I'm still like, Lord, I don't know why you want me in nobody's pulpit, baby. I don't know.
Right. I think there's always going to be a little bit of reluctancy when it comes to our purpose, because we know that the vision is bigger than us. And it can be scary. And like God told me, it's supposed to be scary because that will let you know that you can't do it by yourself. So stop looking at it in your own strength, in your own skill set, in your own power, and start looking at me. And if you start looking at me, I'll lead you through it. So that's where I am. I am all on this thing of hearing and obeying God. If it ain't got nothing to do with that, I don't really want to talk about it. I am really keenly focused on my goals right now. It's my health, my business, and nurturing friendships, because I do want more friendships. That's really all I'm about. And everything else
sounds about right.
falls by the wayside. And I make no apologies about it. I either you want me or you don't.
Or you don't, period. And that's in anything. So yeah, I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you there.
Okay, as we wrap it up, I hope y'all have enjoyed this conversation. I'm looking over my questions, make sure I asked everything. I know we had our final thoughts. Do you have anything else that you would like to say, leave the listeners with?
Heal at your own pace. Don't allow nobody to tell you you should be here, you should be doing this, or you should be over it by now. Don't let nobody do that to you. And there are two things that you need in your life on this healing journey: God and therapy. Use them both.
Simultaneously together. I mean, because that is what keeps me. My God, these journals, and my therapist, baby, they keep me on point each and every step of the way. And then also be open to different perspectives, because even at our big grown age, we didn't get it all right, so if you're open to other people's perspective, you can learn to give people grace. And that doesn't mean that that you ignore what happened to you, right, or that you're okay with what happened to you. It just means that you're applying grace to the situation so that you can heal your heart and move on. Because the longer that you sit in brokenness, the longer that you sit in bitterness, the longer that it is going to have an impact or an imprint on your future, right? And you don't want this in your future. It's done took up enough time. It done took up enough time in my childhood and in my adulthood, and it can't go no further. So it's done. It was done 10 years ago. It can't go no further. Only way you know about it now is if I testify and tell you. I said, other than that, we not. This is peace over here. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away.
Can't take it away.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you so much, Mikkita. I know you have to get out of here. I kept you longer than
Daddy, tomorrow.
Yes. And for those of you who are watching, have a happy Easter, and thank you so much. Leave us your questions and we will come back and answer them as well. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Good night.
You have been listening to Journey to Wholeness, brought to you by Indie Writes, a spiritual growth and development company that helps you write your way to success and wholeness in every area of your life. We specialize in books and journals that promote mental wellness and Christian growth. Our journals provide inspirational articles, motivational quotes, biblical guidance, writing prompts to release your feelings, fears, and thoughts, as well as strategies for success to tackle your goals and pursue your purpose. Visit our website and join our mailing list at www.indiewrites.com to learn more.